This video is an overview of how to replace the intermediate shaft bearing on a 1999 to 2005 Porsche 911 Carrera. Remember to work safe and work smart. Work in a well-ventilated area, protect yourself from injury at all times, and attempt all work at your own risk. Before beginning, consult your owner's manual or the appropriate repair manual for your vehicle. The IMS bearing is located behind flywheel below crankshaft. To access, remove transmission and flywheel. The IMS bearing is susceptible to wear. Some Porsche workshops consider it a maintenance item. However, the IMS is only available from Porsche as part of the complete intermediate shaft assembly. A few aftermarket companies have developed a repair kit to allow you to service all the parts of your IMS bearing. There is also an electronic device available to monitor the condition of your IMS bearing. We're going to pick up with the IMS bearing repair with the transmission and flywheel already removed from the vehicle. We're also going to show the engine removed from the vehicle for clarity. Rotate crankshaft clockwise to cylinder 1 TDC firing position. Place Porsche Special Tool 9595/1 in crankshaft pulley opening to lock crankshaft in place. Using a large pick, puncture center of camshaft bore plug, then lever plug out. Repeat this for all 4 camshaft bore plugs. Install camshaft timing jig assemblies in both cylinder heads. If jigs don't go easily into ends of camshaft, your engine may be out 180 degrees. Try rotating over 1 complete rotation to top dead center again. If locking camshafts on left and right cylinder heads is desired, a specially modified locking tool will be needed for the right cylinder head. The camshaft locking slots are offset on the right head, and the additional locking tool will not align without modification. Working at left side cylinder head, remove timing chain tensioner. Be prepared to catch any dripping oil in a rag. Next, remove tensioner at right side cylinder head. You'll have to remove AC compressor to gain access to it. Working below right side cylinder head, remove coolant pipe fastener. Lower coolant pipe enough to gain access to timing chain tensioner. Remove timing chain tensioner. Be prepared to catch any dripping oil in a rag. Next, clean the back of the engine or bell housing area thoroughly. The next steps are going to replace the IMS bearing using an aftermarket service kit. A service kit includes a new mounting flange, IMS bearing, and micro-encapsulated fasteners. Using a flat blade screwdriver, counterhold IMS bearing flange stud while loosening IMS bearing flange nut. Remove flange nut from IMS bearing. Remove IMS bearing flange mounting fasteners. Using the Porsche IMS flange slide hammer, remove IMS flange from engine. If you don't have this tool available, the IMS flange can be gently pried out using 2 small pry bars. Next, we'll remove the IMS bearing snap ring. When removing the IMS bearing snap ring, place your finger in the middle of the IMS bearing next to the stud. This will prevent the snap ring from popping off and flying down into the engine case. Dual row IMS bearings use an internal circlip in place of a snap ring. It will automatically dislodge when using the puller to remove the bearing. Using the IMS bearing extractor that came with your bearing repair kit, remove the IMS bearing from the intermediate shaft. For information on how to use the extractor, follow along with the directions that came with your IMS bearing repair kit. Be prepared to catch any dripping oil in a suitable container when IMS bearing is removed. Using a lint-free cloth, clean IMS bearing mounting area. Install the new IMS bearing into the installation tool that came along with your repair kit. To install bearing, align with intermediate shaft and gently tap using a rubber mallet. You will know that the bearing is properly seated when you look and you can see that the snap ring can be installed into the intermediate shaft. Once bearing is fully seated in intermediate shaft, install the snap ring using the same method as before, with your finger in the center of the snap ring to avoid dropping it in engine case. Once installed, confirm that snap ring is properly seated all the way around intermediate shaft. Align new IMS flange with engine. Using a rubber mallet, lightly tap IMS flange until it is flush with engine. Once flange is flush with engine, install new micro-encapsulated bolts supplied with repair kit. Next, torque mounting flange fasteners. Next, install new micro-encapsulated nut on IMS bearing stud. Once flush with IMS flange, torque new nut. When torquing the nut, start at a lower torque setting than the specified value, let's say half of that value. Then work your way up to the torque value. This will prevent the stud from spinning when you torque the nut. The remainder of installation is reverse of removal. When installing, remove the DME main relay and crank the engine over for about 10 seconds to allow it to build oil pressure. Let the engine sit for another 10 seconds, then crank it again without starting for 10 seconds to continue to build oil pressure. Once you're sure the engine has built oil pressure, start the engine, allow it to idle without bringing up the RPM for a few minutes. For the complete repair procedure or more information on checking and inspecting your IMS bearing, see the Bentley Publishers Porsche 911 Carrera Repair Manual, available at bentleypublishers.com. Feedback or questions? Visit our online tech forums or our online technical library at bentleypublishers.com.